Something doesn't add up. ITV News have just confirmed council tax arrears have gone up by 70% over the last 5 years.
First, ITV News has learned there's been an alarming surge in council tax arrears in England, with hundreds of thousands of households being referred to bailiffs as a result. We sent Freedom of Information requests to around 100 councils in England. The responses show the total amount owed in council tax has increased by over 70% in just 5 years. 85% of councils reported an increase in arrears last year, and just last year more than 1 million people received a court summons because they were in council tax arrears.
Over 1 million people dragged through the courts in a single year. By courts, I mean Mickey Mouse courts. Nearly 600,000 handed to bailiffs. That works out at 1 per minute. Now pause on that for a second. 1 every minute. Now that's not a few people falling behind. That's something systemic. So how much of this is due to a genuine, real struggle, not being able to afford bills because of the cost of living? And how much of it is people quietly saying, do you know what, I've had enough. I'm not doing this anymore. Because the official line is quite easy to digest, and that is cost of living crisis, prices rising, people cannot afford to pay. And yes, that is a real situation that millions of people across England, Wales and Scotland are having to deal with. You've seen it yourself. Energy bills are up. Petrol is pathetic. Diesel is ridiculous. Shrinkflation, inflation, rent up, council tax up. Everything is moving in one direction, except people's ability to keep up.
We think it's a harmful practice. People are in debt, they're struggling, they need help, they need assistance, but instead they're getting letters that bailiffs are being sent to the house, which is threatening. And then when the bailiffs do turn up, they're aggressive, they're rude, they're hostile.
But the way I kind of look at it is that if this was all about hardship, then why does it feel so coordinated? Why does everything essential, housing, energy, food, tax, rise all at the same time? Squeezing from every angle. And at what point does the cost of living crisis stop looking like a coincidence and start looking like a system? Because when ITV shows you families being pushed to the edge, bailiffs knocking on doors, children hiding behind their mums and dads.
I had a bailiff turn up at my house, and I had my little girl with me at the time, Larissa. I got very upset. You know, I was crying, my daughter was so scared, she was clinging to me, hiding behind my leg.
That's not just economics, that's pressure. And pressure creates behaviour. Yes, hello, welcome to the channel. It is I, Chris. I hope everyone's well, and oh dear, it goes from bad to worse, doesn't it, really? Now, the one thing that nobody in legacy media wants to cover on this subject is, what if a significant proportion of this non-payment isn't accidental? What if people are making a conscious decision not to pay? Not because they can't pay, but because they don't believe in what it is that they're paying into anymore. I mean, think about it. Council tax keeps rising year upon year, but what do people see in return? Services cut, standards dropping, bins less frequent, roads are fucking terrible, and support is harder to access. So naturally a question starts forming in one's mind. What exactly is it that I'm paying for? And once that question lands, it doesn't go away, because the system depends on compliance. Quiet, consistent compliance. Not millions of people asking the same questions all at the same time. Not millions of people hesitating, and definitely not millions of people deciding to stop. Now, ITV frames this as a warning to prioritise council tax above everything else.
From debt campaigners for households to prioritise council tax payments above everything else.
Why? Because of enforcement, because of power, because councils have mechanisms in place that other debts do not. But even in their own report, something slips through. There is no clear legal definition of vulnerability, meaning that everything becomes subjective, interpretation, discretion. It's a little bit like being offended. One council sees hardship, the other one sees liability. And in that grey area, people are left navigating the system that feels inconsistent at best and coercive at worst. And so now you've got two forces colliding. On one side, a cost of living environment that is pushing people to breaking point. On the other, a growing perception that the system itself is incredibly unfair, maybe to the point of being exploitative. And where those two meet, something changes. This stops being just a financial issue. It becomes psychological, moral, even political. Because when enough people start believing that something's a scam, they don't just struggle to pay it, they refuse to pay it. Quietly at first, then collectively. And here's the part that should make you stop and think. If over 1 million people are already in arrears, bailiffs are being deployed every minute, if debt is rising faster than wages, then are we really looking at a failing population? Or a failing system? Because one creates sympathy, and the other creates resistance. And resistance doesn't need organisation. It just needs enough people reaching the same conclusion at the same time, that what they're being asked to fund no longer makes sense. So the next time you hear non-payment, ask yourself, is this a collapse, or is this the early stages of something entirely different? Because history shows when pressure builds long enough, people don't just adapt, they push back. Viva la revolution. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.
Truth, freedom and unity return to Norfolk this summer. Join the Thetford Truth and Freedom Festival on July 17th and 18th, 2026 at the Angel Inn, Larling. 2 days where like-minded men and women gather to share ideas, raise the frequency and explore truth. From 10 a.m. to 6 p.m, enjoy guest speakers, topical presentations, then from 7 p.m. to midnight, relax with live bands, singers and a resident DJ. Camping pitches for tents or vehicles, with or without hookups, are available at a reduced rate for festival goers. Book directly with the Angel Inn reception on 01953 717 963 with street food, festival stalls and real ales, all for just £20 a ticket. This is more than a festival. It's a gathering inspired by the spirit of Thomas Paine. July 17th and 18th, the Angel Inn, Larling.